You gonna move?
I haven't decided.
See, that's what I'm worried about. The Fury I knew was always 3 steps ahead.
If I remember correctly, you called me.
Upon Talos's request. Your lack of contact over the past few years sent a pretty clear message.
Meaning?
You're not ready for this, Fury. There's a very real threat out there. You were never the same after the blip. You always told me there is no shame in walking away when the steps are uncertain. So check your footing. Otherwise, someone's gonna get hurt.
That invasion is here, Rhodey.
And here's the crazy part. We can't even tell who the invaders are.
Fury, why haven't you called any of your special friends?
This war is one I have to fight.
Living on the edge to the end of our lives. Roof in the sheepskin telling me lies.
Alone.
This world is burning, and it was you who lit the match.
TikTok, Nick.
This is personal.
You're the most wanted man on the planet.
Well, Mama always said I was special.
Experience the 6-episode event.
Join me in the extinction of the human race.
You still don't know the truth, do you?
You got to figure out which side you're on.
Marvel Studios' Secret Invasion, streaming June 21st, only on Disney+.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. Marvel dropped a bunch of new Secret Invasion footage, so we'll break it all down. I'm doing videos for all the episodes. Be sure to subscribe to get them all because they start pretty soon. The first big scene is from episode 1. It's basically Nick Fury explaining the Avengers Endgame aftermath. Like, what happened? Why did you disappear on the space station for so many years? It's been about 3 years since Avengers Endgame, at least. They might explain during the episode the timeline is just a little bit different than that, but it's close to about 3 years because this is after the events of Spider-Man No Way Home. Most of the Marvel movies in the Disney Plus series are meant to move in relative real time, like one right after the other as they are released in real life, but there are a few exceptions to that, like the Eternals movie, which jumps around in the timeline. But the idea is that Nick Fury was it was really him during Iron Man's funeral in Avengers Endgame. After he died, he had no idea what to do. Like, the blip left him completely shaken. Thanos, everything, that final battle, all the time travel, like, he never predicted any of that stuff in his previous models. He knew that the Kree and other big threats from outer space could be coming. That's why they built the space station starting in the 90s. Like, they turned the original Marvel's ship into the larger space station, which they're calling the Saber space station now during the series. But I think when we got to the Kang Multiverse War and the stuff that'll be happening in Avengers 5, Kang Dynasty, that's the stuff that he just absolutely did not predict. So the quote Maria Hill uses about the unsure steps, the unsure path forward, is basically him not being sure what to do, so he stepped away so that people wouldn't get hurt, he wouldn't make things worse, and could just try to figure things out, and it's just taken him this long to start figuring things out. The way they're explaining during the series, he hasn't created the new version of the Avengers yet because during some of the other trailers that they've released, people are asking, where are the Avengers? Why aren't they taking care of this? Why aren't they handling these evil Skrulls? That's because Nick Fury hasn't got to that point yet. Samuel L. Jackson did say in real life, when it comes time, quote unquote, when it comes time to put together that next Avengers team, that's when he'll show up and put it together. It'll be a bit of a callback to that original Iron Man 1 post-credit scene where he started going around putting together that first Avengers team. We're supposed to get a teaser for that of some kind, like we're supposed to tease the next Avengers team during Captain America 4 Brave New World, but I don't think that they're actually going to show up till we start seeing more Marvel Phase 6 movies. Like, we met some of the characters that will be on that next Avengers team, and that Shang-Chi post-credit scene is kind of an Avengers reference because Wong says, welcome to the team. He's saying, welcome to the Avengers, basically. But we won't start seeing characters referencing the actual Avengers team like, hey, they're the other Avengers, come join the event. Like, people saying the word Avengers more often until Marvel Phase 6. So right after Iron Man's funeral, Nick Fury goes to the Saber space station to basically peace out for a couple years, and Talos fills in for him as the fake Nick Fury all the way to present day. Even though they had the funny scene during Spider-Man Far From Home with the Talos and his wife version of Nick Fury and Maria Hill, they've been doing that for years. The other funny thing too is that they just released the opening scene from episode 1, like the actual opening scene. I'll link it at the end of this because I've already done a video about it. But during that, another CIA agent, played by Beric Dondarrion from the Game of Thrones universe, more Game of Thrones actors coming into the Marvel universe, is telling Everett Ross about the actual secret invasion with these evil group of Skrulls. Like, you need to worry about this. This is happening all over the world. We need to contact Nick Fury, get him down from the Saber space station. And Everett Ross is trying to get more evidence from him. Like, if I'm going to bring him down from the space station, I'm going to need more than just theories. But during that clip, they make it sound like Everett Ross is the person to get him to come to planet Earth. And during this clip, when the real Nick Fury, it is the real version of Nick Fury, meeting with Maria Hill after years of not answering her messages or coming to planet Earth, she makes it sound like it was Talos who was the person to get him to come down from the space station, not Everett Ross. So either Everett Ross really is a Skrull during that opening scene, or he's just unsuccessful in getting Nick Fury to come down, like Nick Fury kind of ignores him a little bit, at least at first. Them playing chess is also a cool reference to all the chess games that Professor X and Magneto played over the years. Stan Lee also had a cameo scene in the first Avengers movie at the very end in Central Park playing chess though, which is also another reference because they did that during one of the X-Men movies with Magneto in Central Park playing chess when he got his powers back. We are starting to get X-Men in the MCU, both new ones occurring naturally in the 616 universe, like the whole Miss Marvel twist with them using the theme song from X-Men the Animated Series, but also people like Deadpool, Wolverine coming from the Fox Marvel universe, like Multiverse Explainer for X-Men as well. The reason why they played chess during the X-Men movies was mostly because they were friends and it was part of their pastime together. Like, it was a way for them to put down arms, so to speak, metaphorically, and just come together as friends. Like, okay, we're gonna chill for a little while and just talk this out over a game of chess. Because by the present day of that universe, in those movies, they become opposing sides in what to do over the war against mutants in their universe. The funny thing about Deadpool 3, though, the big twist, is rumored that they're going to be visiting a universe, like Deadpool goes to a universe where the X-Men sided with Magneto and the Brotherhood of Mutants instead of opposing them, so they wind up taking over that version of Earth. And it's loosely based on the Onslaught plot, where Magneto basically takes over the planet. There are a lot of stories where Magneto winds up taking over the entire planet, like House of M is another famous example. And one of the other big discussions that's going to happen during this series is how true to character everyone feels like Nick Fury piecing out for years and years on his space station is going to feel. Like, would Nick Fury actually do that? Would he not have a plan? Would he be so dumbfounded by what happened with the snap in Avengers Endgame that he wouldn't do anything for years? That's the way they're sort of tying together the continuity, like why they didn't use Nick Fury in any of the big movies for years. But in real life, the funny explainer behind that is because Marvel had completely different plans for what it was going to do right after Avengers Endgame. Then the virus happened, like that caused a bunch of delays. Then they got the X-Men characters, the Fantastic Four characters back with the Fox Disney deal. They didn't originally have plans for that. And they didn't originally plan on Kang being the big villain way back when they were still working on Avengers Endgame. Because lining actors up, like all these big contracts, spending all these millions and millions of dollars, like hundreds of millions of dollars, takes so much work. They usually plan about 5 years in advance. So like right now, Kevin Feige has loose plans for what they're doing into Marvel Phase 7 after Avengers Secret Wars, whether or not that winds up being 2 movies. But years ago, when they were still developing Avengers Endgame, like before they'd finished filming it, when they were still trying to figure out what their path forward was going to be after Marvel Phase 3, the Fox Disney deal hadn't become a thing, so he couldn't plan on using the X-Men. Like, he didn't know that he was going to be able to use them, so he had to develop a completely separate plan without mutants. And if you remember reading a lot of stories from back then, originally the plan was going to turn on the Eternals characters. Originally, like way back years ago, before they knew they'd get all these characters back from the Fox Marvel universe, they originally planned for a lot of Marvel Phase 4, 5, and 6 to turn on the Eternals characters just in general in the Celestials. Even though there's been so much chaos in the Marvel Universe in the past several years, I think things wound up working in their favor because the response to the Eternals movie was so divided. Can you imagine them trying to launch an entire era of Marvel based on the original Eternals movie as it existed? There's some good things going on during that. I'm really excited about what they could do with Kit Harington's Black Knight character and the Celestial characters just in general. But I think originally they'd planned for the Eternals to be the replacement in the MCU for the mutant characters, even though it would have been so much easier if they'd originally known that they'd always get the X-Men and they could just plan for that. That's actually one of the reasons why you're not seeing a ton of X-Men stuff till much, much later. Like, they had to change their plans once they did get the characters back and sort of fold them into the 5-year plus plan that they'd already made, like all these contracts and all these movies they'd already green-lighted. Right now, the plan is to use Avengers Secret Wars, or at least one of the Secret Wars movies, if they do wind up doing 2 of them, as a swan song for the legacy characters, which will be after 2025, big coincidence. Then after they fix the multiverse during Secret Wars and things go relatively back to normal, they change things that explains how they can recast some of the actors inside the MCU. In those original versions, the characters go back to their original universes, with a few of them, like Deadpool, for example, staying in the regular MCU universe. The way they're doing this series is a little bit smaller scale, and it's more like the Winter Soldier, like the thriller mystery aspect, with them going around trying to find what's going on with this secret plot of the Skrulls. So even though there's a lot of space-based stuff like Skrulls, outer space you're talking about going on during this, and it'll connect with the Marvels movie, which is very space-based, most of the Secret Invasion episodes are meant to set up the dark reign of Marvel on planet Earth, like relatively Earth-based plot during Marvel Phase 5. So there won't be as much Kang stuff going on during this, like the Kang Multiverse War plot, as there would during a series like Loki Season 2, which will be coming in October. Let me know in the comments if you spotted any other Easter eggs during these clips and footage that I didn't talk about in the video, and my Secret Invasion episodes will start really soon, so be sure to enable alerts for my channel so you don't miss that. Everyone click here for that full opening scene from Episode 1, and click here for my brand new Spider-Man 4 and live-action Miles Morales video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.